Hello everybody, this is Adam here with Transparency Pro, also from the review show The Game Machine, bringing you an import preview yet again of another fighting game that you guys know I'm excited about because I cover this a lot on the channel, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, or we're actually taking a look at the import version, Persona 4 The Ultimax Ultra Suplex Hold. Yes, it's a long name and thank goodness they shortened that down, so that's really fantastic. So, let's talk about some of the new features. I'm not going to be able to go over everything due to a couple of reasons. One, the game is still mainly in Japanese. Yes, you can switch over to English voices, but the text and stuff like menus are all in Japanese, so I don't fully understand everything. Also, I've been going through a lot of online guides, and a lot of the resources that I have pulled from are online stuff, which I will put links to below of my sources. So I'm just going to talk about a few features, touch on a few things. I'm not going to go super deep into all the mechanics, but I do want to cover some stuff that I feel like is going to be very important and very awesome. Let's talk about the fighters. So we got all the returning cast back with also shadow versions, which we'll get to in a moment. And so you've got the returning cast from the original Persona 4 Arena back, plus a bunch of new fighters. So yes, if I haven't already, I'll make sure to put a spoiler warning at the beginning of the video, because if you've not played the original Persona 4, this is the final warning. If you've not played it, there is a character in here that will completely ruin that story for you, so stop watching this now, go finish that game, because that game's fantastic. Characters we have are Yukari Takabe, Junpei Iori, Rise Kujikawa, Ken Amada and Koromaru, Adachi, Marie, and Margaret. And so if you notice that most of these are actually returning characters from Persona 3 and a few from Persona 4. In fact, Rise was never a fighter in Persona 4 Arena because she was always the character that was in support. She was the one that would tell you about the enemy's weakness and things like that and their stats. Where now, this time, she's actually going to be able to fight in the battle with them, so that's pretty cool. Also, a new one called Sho Minazaki. He is a new character. He seems to be the antagonist of the game. Not too much is known about him, except that he just has a very vengeful bloodlust. And he has two forms, actually. He has his normal form, where he actually fights without a persona, which is actually kind of a shock they have a character like that in the series, which is actually kind of cool. But a version of him with a persona, though the name change doesn't happen that much. So yeah, it's really kind of cool to see like more of these characters and pretty much the majority of the Persona roster from 3 and 4 filled out. So that's really pretty awesome. So I'm pretty excited about that and some of the new characters. Oh, not to mention that Adachi, Marie, and Margaret are all DLC characters. And for North America, the game goes out September 30th. So if you do get it around that time, within the first week, DLC Adachi and Marie are going to be free. So if you don't get them within the first week, you have to pay for them. Margaret that comes out after it will be paid DLC. So let's go into the Shadow versions. Not all characters will have them, but the main Persona character casts have Shadow versions. Here's what to know about the Shadow characters. They do have some advantages and disadvantages over the normal types. So Shadow characters do have this interesting ability where they can actually gain more SP or meter for supers and things like that than the normal ones. They do gain more meter much quicker over time as compared to a regular character. Also on top of that, they have something special which, I'm not for sure if it's Shadow Frenzy or Shadow Rampage, but anyways, you activate it just like you would a Burst in Persona 4 Arena. Or pretty much any other Arc System game, which is basically kind of a keep off of me mechanism. And what happens is you actually, instead of like being a defensive, it's more of an offensive move. And basically what that does is it allows you to pretty much do a bunch of supers for a long period of time. So in other words, you can whiff 3 or 4 supers that would normally, or maybe 5 supers that would normally cost you a ton of meter. You can just unleash them one after another and just do the most ridiculous combos. With that said, they do actually do less damage than normal characters. Also on top of that, they don't go to an awakened state, which means, you know, they don't get the special buff. But yet they can still do those moves right off the bat if they have enough meter, so, you know, that's kind of an advantage. Instead of having to be an awakened, you can actually just use the supers that you can only use in awakened state in that, so that's actually pretty awesome. On top of that, too, they can't burst, so they don't really have a very defensive. They're definitely more of an offensive, though their attack is definitely weaker. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I guess it's more about the strategy with them is to do as much damage as possible. Then when you get yourself in a Shadow Frenzy, I like to call it state, then you could actually just really lay on the damage that way. It's really going to be up to the player what they want to do. Other things, we also have new auto combos for returning characters. Persona cards now have limits, so not everybody's going to have full. Characters like you do have 4 Persona cards, where Akihiko has 2. And then you have Elizabeth, who has a staggering amount of cards. I don't remember how many off the top of my head. I'll probably show it on the screen. But yeah, she has quite a few more cards. Definitely a lot more than 4. And definitely adds a layer of strategy. Which characters are definitely more Persona heavy than others. Those that are less Persona heavy don't really utilize Personas that much, definitely seem to have a lot less. Where the ones that do use the Personas a lot, and it's really part of the main game, they seem to have more. But of course, the thing here is the advantage-disadvantage is the characters that don't use Persona as much, and they have the less amount of cards, they can recover quicker. Where if somebody like Elizabeth lost her Personas and is in the broken Persona state, it's going to take her a lot longer to cover, so she's going to be defenseless for a lot longer period of time, so it's definitely adds more to the risk and reward of the game itself. Also, short hops can be cancelled into attack with less startup time. Also, they have a new thing called the S-Hold system, which I haven't actually tried, but from what I've been reading on this, it's a special attack that changes properties the longer you hold either the A or X button, which is also known as the D drive button. Also, there are other evasive actions that can now be guard cancelled into rolls. Various buffs and nerfs, of course, throughout the cast. Yeah, and also, too, let's talk about, as far as different game modes and stuff, of course, story mode, which I haven't got to play. Also, there's a mode called Golden Mode, which seems to be the most unique and interesting. The thing about Golden Mode is that it's, from what I got to play, I can't understand a word of it, but from what I understand is you have a mode where you can actually go through. It's like an RPG meets fighting game, since Persona's based on RPG, it kind of makes sense. You can go through, you can level yourself up, and it seems like there's a partner character you can level up with it as well. And when you level those up, you'll get like special abilities and stuff like that, which I'm assuming do different things in battle. But of course, being all Japanese, I don't understand it. And also there's like these boss type characters you do run into after so many battles, so I can't wait to play that in English and actually understand what's going on. On top of that too, of course, the online mode is spectacular yet again. Now the online is definitely far from perfect, especially since I'm playing the Japanese copy and the US copy is not out yet, so it's mainly just Japanese servers at the moment, so connection's not the best, but even with the crappiest connection, matches are pretty good for the most part. I've had a few matches, of course, start off really laggy, but with the ArcSys netcode, it starts out sluggish, but then, man, it starts to perform really, really well, so these guys know how to develop some online code. Also, from BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma, the arcade lobbies are back. You can still customize player characters, you can customize tags, all kinds of cool stuff like that. You can customize, and you can just walk up to these little arcade machines and play with other people's avatars. You can be a dog, okay? Yeah, you want to be a dog with a jacket? Heck yeah, you can do this in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Now, as far as the gameplay itself, it feels really fun, very, very. To be honest with you, I think it feels more fluid than the original Persona 4. I was playing with my friend Zach, who said that he felt that the moves were actually coming out much better, and I felt the same way too, because I'm a U player, as you all know, and when I play, there was like a move that I always would do, and for some reason it would not always, even in training mode, I could not get this to connect 100% perfectly. But for some reason now I can do that so much better, and I can keep them in a red combo with the meter is red, and it actually means they can't escape it, and actually do that combo and actually do damage. And so it makes me feel very satisfying, and it feels like the combos are much easier to do. And I'm not talking about just auto combos, I'm talking about like regular combos that you can do. So that's really, it feels really fluid. It feels like they fixed a lot of things, new characters, old characters. Returning characters do have some new movesets, new specials, which are really fun. I really like using the different ones. Some of the new characters I really like so far. I love Sho. I like Persona Sho better than the regular Sho. He's just really fun. He's definitely kind of trying to be in your face, but he also has like these teleport moves where he goes in and out, and his persona kind of comes out at you a little bit. Also, too, Junpei is really interesting. He has this weird system where it's got like a baseball diamond at the bottom, which I'm still not for sure what that really does yet. I haven't really researched it, but his persona kind of is. He's got this one special that's really awesome where if he's an awakened, what he can do is he can actually hit the player, his persona carries him off, and then the persona carries it back, and Junpei, if you time it just right, you can hit them like a baseball. It is hilarious. Kari's really good. I'm not good with Ken. Ken and Kanemaru are a team with him and the dog, and I've seen some good players with him, so yeah, it's some really interesting characters. All play such fantastically, all are unique. Like, this is just an impressions, this is not a full review of the game. I really want to see how it's going to be when it turns out the US, which I feel like it's going to be good, but You know, I will save complete judgment on it, but I can say right now, expect more Persona 4 Arena content. I'm having a blast with it. This video's run long, but you know what? I just wanted to get my opinions out. Let the world know about Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. It comes out September 30th from Atlus, being produced by Arc System Works, the people who did Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue. So why not pick it up? If you have any questions or concerns for me about the game, please let me know in the comments below. I will link you to the sources that I found, because these guys have better information than I do, and they're also better at articulating it, so some of this stuff I was paraphrasing a little bit, so I do want to quote my sources on it. So guys, till next time, game on.